Hi, welcome to the Stream of David Live. I am here with Debbie, Blue Eyeshadow Debbie. How you doing, Debbie? Can you hear me? Are you frozen? Debbie's frozen. Debbie is definitely frozen. Get unfrozen, Debbie, so we can have a show. If you're just tuning in, we just started. I'm waiting for Debbie to be unfrozen. Type in comments if Debbie's frozen on your end. Maybe it's just something it's happening on my end. But let me know what you're seeing out there, all of you that are watching right now, those of you that are signing on. And then we're going to have a show. And then I'm going to talk to Debbie about some stuff, some 3D human stuff. And then we're going to bring the stream in. And I'm going to answer any questions that you want. She just left. So we'll get Debbie back in just a moment and we will have our show. If you have questions for the stream, hi, Javier. Yes, she's frozen. She left. Hopefully she'll jump back in now. So I'm going to text her and see where she is. The magic of live internet. The fun of live internet. So I'm here solo until Debbie jumps back on. So if you have questions for the stream, you can go ahead and start putting those in now. It'll be a little time before we get the stream in. We've got to get Debbie back first to sort of co-host with me here, and then I will be doing live channeling, answering any and all questions that you have about any topic, because we've been sort of on one topic for the last couple of weeks. So we can move on to other topics, or we can revisit that one if you want. It does not matter. Nothing is off limits with the stream, ever, 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 ever. While we're waiting for Debbie, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about detuning fear. If you're not in my Facebook group, Global Reset, I was talking about that last night, and it's kind of the topic of the week for me, is understanding that we do something in the practice that I teach, which is Taya, called zooming out, which just means in our human lives, when we're able to zoom out to a higher perspective and see things from that higher perspective that's available to all of us, we can really make sense of things that seem very senseless in our world. And we can operate our lives from a much higher perspective when we have this tool to zoom out. So you'll hear us talk a lot more as time goes by about zooming out. But one of the zoom out things that I get is a realization that all of the negative aspects of our world are all rooted in fear. Everything that we see that is unwanted that's going on right now, everything that's negative can all be traced back to fear. And so Debbie is back. We'll get her on. You're not frozen anymore and you're back.
I'm not frozen
anymore. We're talking about fear. We're talking about the magical power of fear to mess up your life and to screw up the whole world.
Oh, it's some shit.
We're not going to cure fear. That's the point I was trying to get at. You're not going to cure fear. You're not going to cure human emotion or vibration. But certainly we can improve things. And by sharing messages of detuning fear, of less fear around every topic, that will detune things for in our lives and for all of humanity. So that's the message that I want to send far and wide to everybody, is let's work on detuning fear in our lives. And it's very transformative when we do, because most of our negative emotions are rooted in fear.
They are rooted in fear. And like today I was triggered. So I was a little miffy. And David, you've known me a long time. I don't get miffy much.
No, you're usually pretty up your spiral. No matter what's going on, you're pretty down up your spiral. I give it to you for that.
Yeah. And so you know how when something just strikes the chord the wrong way, it just strikes your chord that wrong way. And these eyeshadows driving me nuts. I'm feeling like David Bowie right now. Can I just say that?
I have to put glasses on because I can't see. I'm trying to read comments and stuff, and I can't see a thing. You put my grandpa glasses on here, and now I can see. Francisco Javier. I said Javier. I couldn't see the first name because my vision is so blurry, but I know who that is.
Hi, Francisco.
Hi, Julie. Who else do we have? Everybody that's on right now, say hi. Type in a comment, say hello, so that we know that you're really out there. If you've got questions for the stream, we're going to get to that. We are talking about detuning fear. Debbie had, I'm going to let you share. I'm not going to share your business up in here. You got to share your business. So why don't you share what you want to share, and then we'll unpack it.
Yeah, I was triggered because just like when something hits you the wrong way, or it strikes maybe a chord of I don't like things that feel disrespectful, because I try really hard not to disrespect other people, even though I do sometimes. I mean, let's be real. I'm so perfectly human, and But yeah, definitely. So working on getting back up my spiral, I've had to exercise self-care this afternoon. And I've needed to recognize that I'm the one being triggered here. So this is what I want everybody to get. Just because it came from another direction, my reaction points are mine. I'm the only one that can own up to it, and I'm the only one that can see why I'm creating it and what it is I need to see and why I'm creating it. Because I don't normally get too miffy, and I'm pretty miffy.
Yeah, well, if you have a situation that triggers you down your spiral, you are a vibrational match to it in the first place, right?
Totally.
I had that happen last week. I think I talked about it on here. You know, I watched a Trump speech, and I allowed the Trump speech to trigger me down a little bit. And now I look back at that speech, I'm like, why did that bother me at all? Why did that bother me at all? In my normal up the spiral state, that would not have impacted me whatsoever. But it triggered me down my spiral, and my down the spiral time manifested some other negative little things in my life. And one of the negative little things in my life that manifested was disconnecting from these friends of mine who I now see very differently, and realize that, wow, that was a natural shedding of people from my life that were not my vibrational match. And I probably wouldn't have had that combustion with them had I not been down my spiral, but I wouldn't have got clarity because they exited my life very easily over something really small and stupid that could have easily been addressed and talked about, and an understanding met. And you know, they didn't. They chose to leave. And since then, I've been way up my spiral. The best thing about going down the spiral is going back up.
Okay, so I'm on my way back up right now. I want to let y'all know that I don't go from down and even at anger. At least with anger, you know, if you're depressed right now, anger is at least emotion up because you're not sitting in depressed mode. But I'm not just jumping from that misgratitude into gratitude. I'm having to go. I'm having to do this. I wish I was grateful for it right now.
Well, there's work. When you're down in your spiral,
Yeah.
you can't be grateful for, you know, if you're down in negative vibration, finding gratitude for the thing that triggered you down probably isn't going to be available to you. You got to find gratitude for some other things to lift your vibe to a place where you then can revisit that and work on it, right?
Totally.
That's
Hey,
Taya stuff. It's not just Taya stuff, but it is Taya stuff.
it is Taya stuff. I want to do a shout out to Denise Klein. Hey, Denise Klein is spectacular. She was on last week with Josie, and oh my god, it was so good. She was on Drama to Dharma. It was
Oh, that's
super
cool.
awesome. Yeah, it was
I
awesome.
haven't seen Josie in a while. She's my birthday bud. We were born one day apart, same year.
Yep, yep. And
And
you
we
both.
paddled together before at the same time. That was cool too. I like to
I
do that.
know. I would love to see some more with you and Josie too. That's a great idea. We should talk to Josie about that and do that and have maybe call in that dude from the UK and have like just a channel fest.
Yeah, I've been on. I was on a 2 years ago. I was on an online channeling symposium, and it was a potpourri of channelers with all kinds of interesting stuff coming through. So it was really interesting. It really was, and it was fun. And you know, you just want a high vibrational experience. You know, jump on with a lot of people that are authentically channeling source, and it's fun. It's fun. It really is.
I swear, Denise is going to make me cry. I love you, Denise. Oh my God.
You went up your spiral. You manifested Denise being on here interacting with you, and it's going to take you back up your spiral. Like
It's
that.
going to pick me back up my spiral like in 2 seconds flat. Oh my God, you
Yeah,
guys.
you can
What
go
is
up your
it?
spiral
Is
quickly
this
as you
my
want to.
freaking
You
date?
know.
Dude, is it the energy today or what? Oh, she just said, you know, you do such great work. I love you too. Denise, you too. Amazing work out there in this world. Oh my God. I needed that. I needed that like no one's business. And then the universe shows up and gives that to you when,
There you go.
man, you know, just that beautiful, sweet recognition. Holy cow. Thank you, honey. I needed that terrible, something fierce. Hot diggity
All right.
damn.
So you went down your spiral. You had a negative interaction. You went a little further down your spiral because of the negative interaction, and now you're working your way back up. This is the process.
Oh,
It's
gotta
called
go
being
up.
human. It's the process, and we all do it, right? What I
We
want
all do
everybody,
it. Yeah.
where I want to lead everybody that wants to be led. If you don't want to be led, then I don't want to, force anything upon you. But it's the practice, not specifically the Taya practice, but the practice of knowing how to elevate your vibration, and coming to a place of appreciation of the negative stuff in your life, all the way back to birth, or prior if you need to, because you can do that. You can find appreciation for everything that's happened in your existence. And when you do that, it really starts to change your life because you detune your triggers.
That's so important.
Yeah. And when we meet people that trigger us, generally they're reflecting something back to us that we need to work on. And I hear people sometimes say, well, the universe sent me this to work on. Well, the universe does, but it's via our invitation. It's something in our vibe that's attracting it. And
Always,
until
yeah.
we clean up that vibe, it's sort of going to come back around again and again and again and again until we do. And this is true for the collective of humanity, and it's true for each and every one of us in our lives. And I have a feeling with our audience right now, though, that most of this audience already gets that.
Yeah. As a
I'm
matter of fact,
a step one audience, so I'll get out of my step one vibe and get off the soapbox.
they're definitely advanced because I see the people that are on here, and I want to just like thank you, Denise. I love it. She's like, I got your back. I got your back too, baby. So Denise has Milestone Recovery in Malibu, and she runs that, and she's amazing. She has NLP through there. She has this beautiful, gorgeous way of dealing with recovery, and gratitude. Gratitude is a space that Denise and I connected on. Appreciation. And I love how that she runs her facility based upon these practices that she's doing. We've had a few conversations, and she's one of these forefront leaders in world changers, just like Josie is, when it comes to the world of recovery. So I just want to give her a shout out because that's what's super important. In fact, I love you're watching this because if you guys have any questions, David's going to slip into channeling here in just a bit. And if you've got any questions at all, please put them into the chat, and I will so happily ask anything you'd like. Anything you'd like to expand on.
Cool. So let's throw a couple of topics out there. What would you like to ask the stream tonight? And don't tell me the question. Just kind of get on topic and let's get a vibe going of something we can dive into.
Yeah. Let's get into some juicy stuff, you guys. Let's really fear. I think fear was a false evidence appearing real. The things that we fear. I mean, where have you ever noticed, like when we walk through the fear and all of a sudden we're not afraid of it anymore, but that thing, and then have you ever had something like you're really afraid to do and then you do it and it wasn't so bad after all?
Yeah. Facing your fears is and high vibration is a powerful life-changing tool. If you allow yourself to do that on a regular basis, you do sort of weed through these different aspects of your life, and then you end up in a place where fear is present, but it's not present the way that it was. It's there to serve you, keep you from making a stupid mistake like stepping out from a bus or something like that. Yeah, fear serves that purpose. It's a high emotion, and it's very easy to tap into fear. And it's very easy for other people to tap into our fear and sort of use it against us to control us, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got some interesting stuff. Is the country and world going to heal? That's very interesting, and we're going to ask the stream that, Joe. Thank you very much. And if anybody else has any more questions, we're going to have some fun today. I can just feel this coming, and I want
to be a smart ass and say no.
Oh my aching butt! Because change begins.
No, nothing's healing. I'm going to say the same. Don't expect anything. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally joking. This is not the negative stream hour. This is just David.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to tell you, my son I was pissed earlier, and I said something, and he said something back to me, and we had one of those ego pools today. Is it true that the energy we've got some strong, I've had people messaging me today, hey, Debbie, do you feel the energy? Is it just me, or is there something to this? Is there something to the energetic vibration of the way the earth is sitting that could affect us emotionally? Is that true?
Well, that's polarity. We talk about that all the time. And astrology has a place in understanding polarity, but ultimately we have to understand our own polarity and how to manage our own vibration, regardless of what's happening around us. Because what I have found in my teaching of the Taya practice and practicing it myself is that if I meet something that is an obstacle, I'm already in lower vibration when I meet it, or I don't even view it as an obstacle. And so that's me not fully managing my vibration, which is okay. We're humans, we don't have to spend all of our time just managing our vibration. But I have found the more I manage my vibration, the better my life goes, the more clarity I have. We're using this term all the time now in our teachings, zooming out. Something bad happens, zoom out. I have to watch a Trump speech and zoom out. Don't let it, take you down. And I'm not I'm not that political. I'm not saying that I'm an anti-Trump person. I don't want to get into that discussion because I don't give it much power over my life. And I watched the speech, and there was something that was said that I allowed to trigger me down because I was already in lower vibration.
Yeah.
And then the lower vibration really stuck around for a couple of days. And I was on Gary Bodley's podcast in the midst of all of that. And I was talking about, how we can be these higher vibrational beings having a human experience and be zoomed out, but you can't stay zoomed out. We're not supposed to stay zoomed out. We're supposed to zoom back in and be human and make mistakes and experience negative things and do all of it and allow all of it to serve our expansion ultimately. So I didn't even realize it was like a day or two later that I went through this sort of negative experience and this combustion of this negative experience that I manifested from that down the spiral time gave me clarity. And I love clarity. You know me, Debbie. I like clarity better than anything else. That's my favorite thing on planet Earth is a manifestation.
He gets pretty excited about that. Yeah.
Very excited about clarity. And I had clarity. And when I had my clarity, it sent me racing right back up my spiral. And I've been flying higher than I can recall since then. It's just super, super, super high. And talk about in a high vibration when just everything just works. Everything just falls right into place. And you just have such appreciation for your life and the world and humanity and this zoomed out perspective of just loving all of it and not seeing, this is my human perspective. We can ask the stream that question about healing, not even seeing what's going on in the United States right now is something that necessarily needs healing. It's really, we've been calling it a global reset, but it really is evidence of our ascension, evidence of the collective's ascension, a global awakening, if you will. And there's going to be different aspects of a global awakening that we don't fully understand until we really zoom out and see it from the higher perspective. Oh gosh, all the stuff that we see going on right now is really humanity coming together like never before and questioning and causing the destruction of certain institutions that no longer serve us.
Totally agree. It's change time.
Yeah. And it's not bad. It's not a scary thing.
No, and it's not. It's it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to this. I was talking about this morning. It's an opportunity to do that very thing that you've been putting off, saying that you don't have time to do. And I'll tell you what, Denise, she's doing that. You know what she's doing? She's doing the holy shift.
Holy shift. That sounds interesting.
Oh my God, it is. Oh Lord, it's impossibly. It's okay. This is impossibly too cute. She is literally she has a mobile spiritual store. Yeah, so she can pull up and people can go shopping in her spiritual store. I love this. The holy shift. There's a lot more to it, and look for more because it's coming, and I'm super excited about that. But doing these things that you've been putting off doing are so super important, and that's what this is about. Are you stepping into your power? And if you're not, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna sound like an infomercial again. You know how I do this, y'all. But you need to possibly consider joining Taya Bootcamp. And the reason we consider joining Taya Bootcamp is so that we can really learn how to maneuver our spiral. I will admit that I blew that one today. Well, earlier.
Well, there's no blowing it though. That's the thing, is that it will serve a purpose. I said last week I was DTS down the spiral, down in lower vibration, really for a couple of days. I found out that I've done this work so much that if I'm not up flying high in joy, I'm in lower vibration. And that lower vibration created some havoc in my life. And it's interesting that Lana, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, is talking about getting on social media and seeing all this political stuff. I'm assuming you're in the United States. And it taking you down in vibration because we're so divided. And I will tell you what happened. I think I talked about this on the show last week, maybe not, but I went down my spiral. I had a negative interaction where I actually posted something that was intended to be positive on Facebook. Yeah. And what I posted was, I'm telling you this almost verbatim, there is value in maintaining friendships with people who have vastly different beliefs than you. And I do believe that. I do believe that. I will tell you that I've got friends with all sorts of different beliefs. And And it doesn't matter to me. And I don't give politics that much power in my life anyway, so I'm not going to get that passionate about it. And part of the Taya practice, and all these things that we're talking about are incorporated in the practice that Debbie and I both do. We don't need to be right. We don't need to argue. You can have your belief system. We're not going to argue with you. We don't need to be right. We can pull our ego out of it and say, hey, whatever's happening on planet Earth is exactly what's supposed to be happening right now for the expansion of energy. And the negative things that happen in our lives and across humanity and across the universe actually exist to inspire growth, inspire new creation. So we have these negative things that happen. If we want to take a very big example of the killing of George Floyd last week, 2 weeks ago now, look what happened from that. Look at this outpouring that we saw some anger, but ultimately that anger sort of abated, and we saw these mostly peaceful protests of people wanting change.
Mm-hmm.
The change is actually happening.
Yeah.
And this started for me, and this has been going on, as long as humanity has existed. So, but my first recollection of seeing one race of police officer beating another race on camera was Rodney King. And that was 28 years ago. So we saw that 28 years ago. Rodney King survived. And now we see routinely on the news, people dying right before our eyes on video in the same scenario. And I know there's other scenarios and there's lots of other stuff, but this particular issue, let's zoom in on this issue. This particular issue, there is progress to me being made in a 3D perspective because of all of that attention that was placed on it. So there's all sorts of different opinions about that. And I don't, it's fine, whatever your opinion is. But it's an example of how we have this negative event that inspires this combustion of energy that ultimately inspires expansion. And if you zoom out and you see that we are all eternal beings here having a very temporary human experience, and life and death is really not the big deal that we humans make of it, and we see ourselves as soul consciousness beings, we are able to then appreciate the process of being physical in a physical environment like planet Earth. And it's a never-ending cycle of positive and negative. But the thing that I've noticed, and there's proof of it everywhere if we look for it, is that positive always prevails. That the sun always comes out, spring always arrives, positive always prevails. In my first book that I wrote, The Stream talks about how positive and negative is our human perspective. Source does not judge any of it. It all serves a purpose, and they get that. We don't, because we're here having this ego experience. But if you go out to this beautiful field full of wildflowers and decide to pave it over with a parking lot, and you pave it over with a parking lot, and it's this big, ugly, gray parking lot, eventually the sun is going to erode the parking lot, and the flowers are going to start popping back up through the cracks. And eventually those flowers are going to take over that parking lot, and you're not even going to know that it was there anymore.
Yep.
That's a really good analogy for how storms in our lives and on our planet operate. These negative things come through, do some destruction, cause us to solve it and build back. And we always build back better than before. Always. So if you take the fear of death out of the equation and the finality of death out of the equation, suddenly that process of storms doesn't seem even like a bad thing.
Right.
If you get trapped in the, oh my gosh, people lost their lives and that's so terrible. Well, none of our lives are permanent. So if you zoom out to the higher perspective and you can see that, okay, no life is permanent, and let's look beyond this person's personal journey who may have perished in one of these storms. That was their personal journey. And there's no right or wrong way to go or amount of time. It was their vibrational alignment, or it wouldn't have happened to them. If you don't understand those concepts, you're probably not watching one of these channels anyway, so it's okay. But if you are just landing on these teachings, it's very complex stuff in the beginning. And then when you absorb enough of it with an open mind, discern what you like and what you don't, and make your own determinations, but things start to sort of come into focus with all of this. And then you start to see the world very differently. That's what the practice of Taya is all about, that we've been talking about. It's about releasing fear from your life and allowing trust. Taya stands for trust your abundance. It really is about trusting the universe, trusting the process of creation. Yep. And negative is a component of the process of creation. And once we really embrace that in our lives, then our lives really start to change. So Lana, what I was going to tell you is that I had that happen last week, where I lost a group of friends because they insisted that I choose a specific side in a political debate.
Holy Moses.
Exactly. Talk about intolerance.
Oh,
I live in a
wow.
community where if you don't believe a certain set of beliefs, not the whole community, but the people that I have been associating with, who I've always enjoyed, but I can't get into the spiritual stuff with them. If I start talking about the spiritual stuff, they glaze over. So my clarity in all of this is who I am. I'm not hiding who I am. I did that for years when I was in the corporate world, and it made me miserable. And since then, I'm very public. You can Google me. I'm all over the place as far as podcast, radio show, articles. I am who I am. If you're into this stuff, you'll stumble upon it. But I'm not going to hide that aspect of me. But I don't necessarily need to dance it out in front of everybody either. Well, what I found, the clarity that I got, was that I'm not really vibrationally matched to this group of people, because they all insist that I think the same way they think, to be included in their group, if you will. And it's not all of them, but it's just a very specific group of people. And it was really an eye opener for me. It was clarity for me to arrive at this space that, wow, these people are willing to end a friendship because I won't completely subscribe to an exact set of ideals. And I don't. You cannot be an independent being and always agree with somebody else. And I'm not going to sit and let a TV network tell me what to think on either side.
Correct. I got to agree with you on that. And what I find, it's synchronicities in life. I've been talking with Jay Meyer a lot lately with Light Touch about synchronicities and sacred synchronicities, and paying attention to them. And look at when we have something that's going out in the collective, and other people are going through it. And then you say this over here, look at Lana and Joe both had this happen to them the other day. So this is for all of us to really, do you see how, like, we're all going through it? We're all experiencing different forms of polarity. And the key component to all of this is, how can we find appreciation in the polarity? How can we find appreciation in the polarity to get the clarity?
Yeah. Well,
Did
and
you just hear that?
finding the appreciation detunes the fear. So the idea that you need to be on our side politically is based in fear. If you think about it, because we all get to believe whatever we believe and vote for whoever we want to vote for, and get behind whatever we want to get behind. And I am truly fine with it, because everybody's on their own little path and journey here on planet Earth, just like I am. And it's not for me to judge, and I don't need to control the outcome. That's the thing. I watched the speech in low vibration, and my fear-based, I need to control the outcome, was available to me there. Not for very long, but for a minute. And I was like, whoa, this is really bothering me. And then I did my work. I stepped back and said, why is this bothering me? Why, I've broken the rules my whole life, and lived the way that I want to live, and created my own reality. This is not part of my reality. Why am I letting this impact me? Because some of the components of the Taya practice is, I don't need to be right. And I don't need to control others, and I don't need to control the outcome, and I don't need to hold other people away from their contrast. And this group of people has this, it supposedly comes from a good place. I guess it does. We want to save other people from themselves. We want things, we want to put things in place from the government that are going to help people navigate their lives in a better way, and keep them from doing this, and help them do that, and all of that sort of thing. And if we don't get that, then the world's just screwed, because we need to help these people. But I don't necessarily believe that. I'm a big believer that everybody has an opportunity to manifest joy and abundance and clarity in their lives. And I am here to help anybody do that. But simply thinking that the government's going to do that for somebody, I just don't necessarily believe that. So, oh my gosh, you don't believe the way that we do? That's just awful. You must be a blah, blah, blah supporter. No, I'm not even saying that. I'm not saying that. I just saying that I have a very open mind, and that you can have your beliefs and I can have mine, and we can still be friends because I'm cool with it. And that didn't work for them. I'm like, whoa, because I've got so many friends with beliefs all over the place. And I don't even need to know what they are. If I like you and you have a high vibe, and you are a well-intentioned human being, boom, I like you. That's all I need to know.
Well, I think if we pay attention to our vibration, that it shows us what we need to know. And that separation factor coming in again. Love is all there is. The separation that we human beings like to put in place, and belief systems and this and that. Holy mackerel, it hasn't worked yet. It has not worked yet. All this separation and all this, you need to believe this, and no, it hasn't worked. So I'm going to just say, I don't know squat. My belief systems are literally, and my perspectives change with the wind. I mean, Jiminy Crickets, it's like changing underwear. They just change and change and change, because constantly we're in a change. Right now, nobody, I don't
Well,
know. Do you know anybody that actually, truly, really freaking knows? I do. The stream. We need to bring them in and
all
ask.
right, let's do that. Let's get the guns in here. The guns.
Bringing in the big guns now, Chief.
Yes. All right. So if you have questions for the stream, please type in questions now. Nothing is ever off limits for the stream. It is eternal consciousness. It is source energy. The only limitations with the stream is my intellect and vocabulary. I have to be able to understand what you're talking about to get an answer from the stream and relay it back to you. That's really the only limitations. But there's nothing that's off limits, and they are not politically correct. If you haven't encountered them before, don't expect it necessarily a PC answer to things. But I promise you, their answers are always rooted in love. Always, always, always. And with that, let's all meditate together. If you're watching this right now, there are a lot of you on right now. So if you're watching this, let's take a moment to close our eyes, take a few deep breaths, show appreciation for this time that we have to spend together, and set an intention to get the very best experience with the stream and get everything that you need to know from them if you're seeking. We are here. We cannot hear you speaking.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Oh, good. Okay, so gratefully we are connected with the stream of David, and we are definitely looking for questions. I am so grateful and appreciating the presence of the energy of the stream. So let's start. Let's go ahead and start with Joe Lucero. I like this. I like this one. So is the world going to heal? Are we going to? Are people and mankind and are we going to actually heal from all this?
We understand where your question is rooted, and we would guide you to view things perhaps a little differently. It would be very easy for us to dive right in and say that your world does not need healing, but you are looking at it, you are viewing it from a human perspective. David often refers to this as a 3D perspective, a human perspective, and it is certainly okay for you to view things from a human perspective, as you are indeed human. From the human perspective, there is a lot of tension on your planet, and especially in certain countries at this time. And this tension is created via what we have been calling the global reset. The global reset is an ascension of vibration that is happening collectively. In fact, it is why we are flowing through David the way we are and have been for the last several years, preparing for this, preparing for the awakening that is actually occurring. And as the awakening continues to evolve, you will all come to see the perfection of everything that has happened on your planet and is happening on your planet, and understand that that does not mean that it's going to necessarily stick you in this same disruptive energy that you're in now. And you're also not rushing toward utopia. One of the things that we really want to get across to all of you who are interacting with us at this time is that this idea of utopia, this idea of elevating planet Earth to a higher dimension, where you are all living in complete peace and you are all getting along and you're all simply agreeing with each other on everything. That is not the purpose of a physical environment. And we are not guiding you away from desiring healing. We are not guiding you away from desiring peace. But understand that what you consider contrast, that which you consider negative, is part of every physical environment. Every physical environment, and physical environments are infinite. And every single physical environment in existence is impacted by polarity. Each has its own unique vibration, and it cannot really be compared to planet Earth. But polarity is present, and polarity behaves in different ways in different environments. And in this case, we are here visiting with you, and we are speaking of planet Earth and humanity. For planet Earth and humanity, the negative aspects of your world are far outweighed by the positive aspects of your world. It's very easy for you to turn on your news or log on to social media and develop a belief that the world is crashing around you and that everything is negative and everything is awful. But get out into nature, get out and interact with some other human beings and realize that that is a picture that is being painted to keep you drawn in and keep you tuned in to a station, if you will, because fear is a very powerful tool, and your fear mechanism is used to control you. And the more you can detune the fear mechanism from your lives individually, the more you will contribute to the expansion of humanity and certainly gain benefit from that in your own lives. We are guiding you to detune fear and not necessarily view your world as broken or in needing of healing, but come to a higher understanding of the purpose that polarity serves, the purpose that negative events, your transgressors, hold in your lives and across humanity, and in the powerful positive energy that flows from that. Everything that you discern is not your preference leads you ultimately to a solution, to evolution, to some type of new creation that creates expansion in your lives as human beings, and more importantly, throughout the universe. You are contributing to universal expansion when you create new. And if you were living in a utopian environment where you all agree and you all think the same and you're all on the exact same path, there would be no expansion created. So therefore, there would be no need for a physical environment. You exist that way in non-physical. Non-physical is your time to enjoy a lack of contrast and a lack of polarity and just exist in pure positive energy. But understand that you are highly evolved, highly intelligent beings. And when you get into that state, the first thing that you want to do is come back into a physical environment and do something like what you were doing right now all over again.
Mm. Even though I've said myself, I'm not going to do this again, and I'm so determined. But I love always what you say, what the stream says here, that we'll get bored if we'll get bored in the land of utopia.
You all would. We often use the analogy of going to a 5-star resort and having being waited on hand and foot and eating the best food and lying perhaps beside a pool, beside the ocean, and having every need tended to. For a few days, that is very satisfying. But if you lay on that chair for several months on end, you're going to get bored and you're going to want to mix things up and you're going to want to experience something else that will include more contrast for you than simply laying and being weighted on hand and foot.
Yep.
This is very true for your consciousness. Your consciousness needs stimulation to expand, and you gain that stimulation by coming into physical environments and experiencing physical experiences that are contrasting experiences and encountering things that you discern as not your preference and manifesting a path away from that one way or another. And we are here to tell you that there is no getting that process wrong. The process of moving away from your human discernment, your human judgment, if you will, where you are viewing the path of another and discerning it as not your preference, that is a natural occurrence. But when you begin judging it, that is not your preference and therefore it should not be their preference, and trying to hold them away from their preference, notice that does not work very well, because that was never the intention of coming to a physical environment in the first place.
I'm loving this. I love this. Chelsea Jackson, I love your question, and I love it because it's so important. when we experience strong negative emotions, and I was experiencing strong negative emotions earlier, well, staying with the feeling and feeling it help to move the energy out of our body. So I think also is how do we move that energy out of our body when we're there?
There is a combustion that happens when you race down your spiral, and when you were speaking of strong negative emotion, we are stating that that is a race down the spiral. That there is velocity built in this negative emotion toward a preference that is not being met. Or you're experiencing something that you do not want to experience, or witnessing something that you don't want to witness, and you have this combustion of negative energy, and that combustion of negative energy needs an outlet. It is not possible for you to go that far down your spiral and simply, without doing some work, do what we call zooming out and racing back up to the top of your spiral. But you can do it very, very quickly. But that we have referred to this step one moment of the anger, releasing of the anger, and understand that as soon as you release the anger, you will begin to travel back up your spiral. Polarity will pull you up, just like polarity can sometimes take you down your spiral. Allowing that polarity to pull you up by finding things to appreciate, by breathing, by calming yourself down, by zooming out to the higher perspective. That is the process of going back up your spiral, but it's not an instantaneous trip. This is why we use the spiral analogy, because you are traveling up a spiral. You are not going straight up. You are traveling up this spiral, and you can spiral up or you can spiral down. Your focus determines where you go. Something may trigger you down your spiral, and there's certainly work that you can do that will keep you from being triggered. But if you are in a state where you are triggered down your spiral and you have the combustion of negative energy, you can stay in that space and hold yourself there by continuing the narrative that took you there in the first place. Or you can allow the anger to get out, however you wish to do that, and then work your way back up through appreciation, through finding positive aspects. David shared that when he found out about his identity theft and sat on hold for over an hour to speak to his bank as his bank accounts were being drained, this was a manifestation that he manifested from being down his spiral regarding a specific topic. And ultimately, he was able to work through it very, very quickly, because as he sat on hold in frustration with a little bit of fear of what was happening around him, what he had manifested in his life in a negative way, he knew he had to find appreciation very quickly and move up his spiral in order to solve it. What did he do? He started finding appreciation for the people that stole his identity. The precision that it took, and the time and the planning and the effort that it took to take over his cell phone and his email and his bank account all at the same time in unison, and finding appreciation for all of the effort that went into taking his identity allowed him to go up his spiral, and he solved the identity theft very quickly and moved on from it and rarely revisits that topic. You all have the power to build these tools, and it takes time and it takes work, but you all have the power to release all of these fear-based limiting beliefs that you are taught in your society by and large that are meant to hold you in place. You can do work to release those things and get to a place where you will still go up and down your spiral. You're still going to manifest some negative aspects in your lives. Those negative aspects, though, are always, always, always opportunities for you to visit a topic that you need to revisit, to detune that topic, solve it, and expand in the process. Whether you are expanding your life, your health, your business, your finances, your relationship, your connection to our energy, whatever it is, you are going to go down your spiral and present yourselves with opportunities for expansion in the form of obstacles. Always. It is a never-ending process as long as you're physical. But you can make these obstacles be fewer and further between by doing some more work to be up in higher vibration. But the real difference is that you can learn to meet these obstacles in joy, figure out very quickly, have clarity on how they serve you, and move on from them and grow and expand in the process. It is a beautiful way to live as a human being. And we are here to share that path with each and every one of you that are ready for it.
Wow. So much absolute scrumptious, juicy information, you guys, to just do this human thing a little easier. And yes, Maritza, you may ask a question. Absolutely. A lot of wants to know, when will Big Pharma stop suppressing holistic cures for illness, and how can we help?
The more you turn your attention toward what you want, the holistic cures catching on across your planet, and the less you focus on what you identify as big pharma is doing is wrong or evil or hurting the world, the solutions will flow. Notice that as the collective consciousness elevates their being, meaning ascends, meaning questioning all of your institutions, the more these institutions are beginning to crumble. And if you have an institution that you deem as negative and you keep paying attention to the negative aspects of, you are empowering it to stay, and you're strengthening it. Notice that the things that you push against in your personal lives and the things that you push against across humanity, the things that you push against in your specific countries, notice that those things tend to stick around and even gain momentum sometimes. And the more frustrated you get with them, the more you are empowering them. You are contributing to the problem when you are focusing on the problem. You have a solution already. Focus on the solution. Speak more of the solution and less of the problem. And those who are vibrationally ready to hear that message will connect with you and expand in the process of it. And those who are not ready, that are, in your opinion, negatively impacted by it, are on their journey exactly where they need to be according to what their vibration is. You are all here on different paths. That is why there is never going to be one world leader that comes and gives an answer to everything. We have said many times that we are flowing through David. We are here delivering a set of tools that can absolutely solve every problem on your planet as it exists right now. Notice that every person on your planet is not interacting with us on this broadcast right now. Very few are, because very few are ready for this. Very few are vibrationally aligned to really understand how vibration and polarity work, how creation really works. So many are still held in that victim space. So many are still held in a space of fear. So many are still held in a space where they're allowing an ancient set of rules to dictate how they think and believe and live their lives. There is nothing right or wrong with any of this. This is evidence that you are all here as independent strands of soul consciousness manifesting your own personal journeys. And it's okay for you to look at another and discern it as not your preference. But you trip yourselves up and you hold yourselves away from your own abundance and your own joy when you look at another and say, I need to change the rules to save them from themselves. You do not, and you never will. It's important to understand that. When you solve every single problem on planet Earth and you're all sitting around agreeing with each other all day long, that is going to be the true destruction of your planet. But the good news is you are nowhere near that at this time.
That is good news. That is super great news. Kim Garvey, thank you so much for and LD, I see that you're having a really hard time, and hopefully what you're hearing from the stream right now is addressing some of your issues. I really, and not that everybody's not important, because everybody is, but I'd like to just go ahead and look at Maritza's comment. She said, I'd like to ask the stream for advice on the following. Currently 30 weeks pregnant with twins. I've been admitted to the hospital for an emergency as my membranes have ruptured, and I've set positive intentions for them and I to be safe for whatever happens. So I have started to think that if the twin that is already ready to come out will wait until I reach 34 weeks, or it's coming at any minute. I just don't want them to come too early. I need to release this fear and trust that this is probably their first contrast. Oh, bless your heart. Bless your heart,
It is a
honey.
contrasting experience all the way around. And where we would guide you with this is to the more caveats you place on things and the more expectations and the more need for a specific outcome you place, the more static you create in a vibration. Because the more particulars you layer on to this topic, the more chance you are taking to go down your spiral on a topic. We guide you to trust the process and trust the universe and know that whatever the outcome is the perfect outcome for the expansion of all the souls that are involved, whatever it is. And understand that this is a path that you have manifested your way down. And you are here on this path in a very difficult situation from your current perspective. But the more you zoom out, and you have the tools to do this, the more you zoom out and see from the higher perspective and revisit times in your life where you let go of the need for a specific outcome, and you were very pleased in the expansion that you received in that process, understand that that works on every single process. You have a collective of souls here, and the more tension that is placed on the scenario, the more you're not going to appreciate the outcome. If you zoom out and absolutely set a positive intention for the very best advice to come to you and the very best scenario, that everything is going to work out exactly as it should, whatever occurs is going to be in high vibration. And we guide you to make peace with the process and make peace with where you are right now in this process, and not be so concerned about what the outcome may be. There is no potential outcome from this point that is going to end the wholeness of what you are and who you are, the eternalness of your being, including the souls that you are sharing your body with right now. There is no outcome that is a bad outcome. That is a human judgment of it. We are guiding you not to judge the outcome and not to need a specific outcome. Zoom out, be in a state of high vibration of love and appreciation for the experience that you have had up until this point, and even zoom out a little further and appreciate the experience that you're in right now. Breathe, self-love, knowing that whatever occurs is going to be the best possible outcome for you, and leave it at that, and don't dip down into that stress and that worry and that fear. Even your doctors will tell you that that's not good for you. So do not attach yourself to the specifics, and do not attach yourself to the specific need for a particular outcome. Best possible outcome, zoomed out, love for you, love for the souls that you're co-creating with right now, and leave it at that, and breathe and hold yourself there again and again and again, and fall asleep in that state in great appreciation, and wake up in a state of greater appreciation for the process that you have manifested for yourself. No particular outcome needed. It is all beautiful. It is all creation, and you are all eternal beings.
Beautiful. Whew. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Maritza, I hope that that's helping, and thank you for everybody for sending blessings to her right now, because we're two or more gathered. You all know that. It's our collective energy of love. And Ellied, I don't know if I'm saying that right. She's been dealing with a lot of physical things going on. Her lungs, and now she's got to stay in because of COVID, and she's feeling really, really, well, from her comments, pretty hopeless right now. How can we possibly help with that perspective?
If you have been feeling hopeless, and you have manifested your path to this interaction, understand that it is not an accident. You are here hearing from Source. Source flows to you. You have your own version of that which David refers to as the stream. You have your own version of this available to you. And the fastest way to allow this source energy to flow to you, it is already there, is finding things to appreciate and love about you. Because understand that as Source, we only hold love for you. And when you are in a state of not loving yourself, and you have traveled far down a path where you have manifested physical illness, that cycle of feeling the pain of physical illness and beating yourself up perhaps for feeling the pain and manifesting the illness keeps you in this cycle. And the path out of this cycle is to, again, the analogy that we're using is zooming out to a higher perspective and understanding that anytime you have a physical ailment, that is born of stress, and your stress is born of you wanting something and not allowing it for yourself. And that negative self-talk that you very often have for yourself. You are all very adept at this, at having that recording that plays in your mind that says negative things to you over and over and over again. Yeah. We're going to give you a little trick that Debbie knows and that David knows, to take that little voice of negative self-talk and separate it out from yourself. Give it a name. David calls his Claude. Give it a name that does not mean anything to you, not someone that you know, so that there is no attaching this voice to any other human being. Give it a name that you might find unsavory, because you're going to view this as an unsavory aspect that is no longer part of you. Separate that out and use your imagination, and understand the power of imagination. Your imagination brought you to wherever you are in your life experience right now. Your imagination is the thing that is keeping you down in lower vibration if you're down there. Your imagination is the thing, the stories that you are telling yourself that has made you sick. Your imagination is also the thing that is perhaps telling you that you cannot go on.
Yeah.
But that aspect of your imagination is detachable. Detach that aspect of your imagination and make it a thought bubble out beside you, and give it a separate identity from you. Separate it out from you. It does not serve any purpose but to limit you and make you feel bad about yourself and hold you back. Make it this separate entity. Give it a name and learn to start a process of muting it and shrinking it, because you can. You can. David did this for years. He was raised with a mother that told him he was less than all the time. Even told him to kill himself at one point. He detached that voice that he developed from hearing that and stopped internalizing it and named it Claude. And when Claude would chime in, he learned to tell Claude to shut up. In fact, he would say, "Shut the F up." And you can too. And in telling it to shut up and muting it, actually Claude shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk, and Claude does not exist anymore. Every single one of you hold the power to do this, to separate your voice of limiting beliefs out from you. Something else that we're going to guide you to as well is to actually find appreciation for your chronic pain, because it is your manifestation. And we're not telling you that so that you beat yourselves up about manifesting your pain. You all manifest everything in your lives, positive and negative. It is not from a state of wanting it or deserving it, or it does not have anything to do with past lives and all of this crap that you're taught. Your negative manifestations are just part of your journey as a human being. And in your journey as a human being, you all are in higher and lower vibration. When you go down into lower vibration, you manifest unwanted things. You all do. These unwanted things exist ultimately to drive your expansion when you solve them, when you move past them. But understand that if you've placed yourself in this stressful space of having things that you want and not allowing them, and having stress in your life, and you don't know what that's come from, and perhaps you felt like a victim that is coming from somewhere else, the reason that we guide you to understand that it is your manifestation, because when you claim the power over it, you then claim the power to change it. And when you claim the power to change it, when you claim ownership of it, you can start to work on these things. And this journey, this healing journey, can happen for you as quickly as you have seen your earth begin to heal itself, because you are abusing it less during your pandemic. That is one of the positive things that sprang forth from the pandemic right away. You heard about dolphins swimming where they were not swimming before, and clear skies in LA, and clearer streams, and all of these things. You saw how quickly years and years and years and years of abuse were reversed, because spring is always ready to spring forward. Always, always, always. Positive always prevails. But you've got to allow it to prevail in your life. You have to be the one that allows it to prevail. And if you've walked down this path of being in a lot of pain and having these health issues, the place that we're going to guide you to is finding appreciation for the pain. Debbie is one who can tell you very much about the power of gratitude and appreciation. David is as well. The Taya practice, if that is your vibrational alignment, all of these things will guide you to finding appreciation for the pain. The pain is there to tell you that you're heading down a path that you do not want to go down. And when you start reversing these things, you'll be amazed at the healing that can take place. Be excited for your healing without the need for evidence of it. Be excited for it. Show appreciation for the pain in the moment, that it is your body telling you that you can have more, be more, do more, and that spring is right around the corner for you. You have to allow it. And it's not about finding it and not about doing a lot of work or anything like that. It is allowing it. It is right there. That light is right there in you right now, but you're dimming it with limiting beliefs and negative thoughts. And perhaps you feel like you've been taught a certain way that has led you there. And you perhaps have. Don't let that matter, and don't allow that to stop you. Use these tools that we have provided to you and give them the power, and understand that your positive intention gives it the power. You have the power to change anything about you. And that's where we are guiding you to understand that you truly have the power to change anything about you that you want. You are stronger than you know, each and every one of you.
Beautiful. Okay, we have came upon the hours. So is there anything, or is that it?
There have been a lot of excellent questions, and perhaps we will come back and flow again sooner than later to tackle some more of these questions. This has been a very high vibration interaction, in that there are people here who are hurting, and there are people here who needed to be aligned with this message. And it's very important to understand that everything that we have shared with you, when you are ready for it, will work to transform your lives. All of you, anything that you've got going on. So even if you believe your specific question wasn't answered, go back and watch this recording again, because we promise you it was. And we know that there are questions about healing planet Earth and guiding all of planet Earth to one space. We will leave you with once again, imparting that you are not on a one space journey here. You are all independent beings having different types of journeys, and it's not necessarily for you to understand the journey of another. And it's not up to you to agree with their journey. You can discern it as not your preference, but we do guide you to allow them to have their journey. Even if it's not your preference, let them have their journey. Don't try to control the outcome. You're not all here on the same path. That is why there is not one leader or one thought process or one religion that's going to solve every problem. You have all these different institutions, and notice that there's no one size fits all. And if you're in one and you're giving it power and it's transforming your life, then you are in the right place. But when you start thinking that every single other human being on the planet needs the same path and the same set of beliefs and the same set of rules, if you will, then you're off message a little bit. You're off track, and you're going to take yourself down into lower vibration, and then needing everyone to believe as you believe. If there is something that has transformed your life, let your example of what it's done for you be your sharing of it. And those who are vibrationally matched to it will show up, and you can talk about it. And there's nothing wrong with that, regardless of what your beliefs are. And if they are vibrationally matched to it, they will know. Our teachings are not for everyone. If you hear what we share and it is not a vibrational match for you, you're right to move on from it. But if the words are intriguing, if you feel like they're a match, that there are endless teachings that we have offered and will continue to offer on every single topic. And the tools that we offer absolutely would solve every problem humanity has. But we are not here for that. We are here for 1 or 1 million or 1 billion. It does not matter to us. We do not judge. We are here for those of you that are ready for all of this. This is a sophisticated way of thinking and a sophisticated way of living your lives. And we are not judging those who are not ready for it. The sophistication is in seeing that you're not all on the same path. Much love. That is all we have.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Mr. Carter. So I want to thank everybody in the audience today. You guys were just spectacular, and let's definitely keep everybody in each other's blessings today. Lots of beautiful stuff, David.
I remember to put the banner up.
Yay for David.
I feel like there was some really, really, really beautiful things shared and a very deep conversation. And I love these deep conversations. And we maybe need to do let's do a 2-hour healing summit for everybody that's watching. Let's pick a date, evening, maybe next Wednesday. We'll do a 2-hour next Wednesday. It's just coming to me. We'll do 4 o'clock next Wednesday on all the same channels where you are, 4 p.m. Pacific. We're going to do a 2-hour healing summit. So all of these healing questions, if you didn't get your question answered, you probably did. Go back and watch it again. But if you want to interact deeper and more, and you have more questions and you want to come back here, wherever you're watching us. We're in lots of places right now. Come back here next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, and we will go for 2 full hours. And Debbie, I hope you can do it with me. Don't you love it when I just plan something like that? Like, okay, I hope
It works for me. I
we'll
mean,
figure it out. It'll work
we're
out.
a week
It'll work out.
we're a week early. We could do that. I love that. So everybody, let's look excited. I'm excited about that. And if you have loved this today, I would encourage you all to reach out. Well, first, just go on over to thestreamofdavid.com/Taya and have a discovery session with David where you can find out if Taya Bootcamp is the thing for you. Mention my name and you'll get an additional session, which is awesome with the stream. The other thing I want to mention is there is a free masterclass, and the free masterclass is you guys need to, if you want to see what Taya might be like, then I highly encourage you to take the free masterclass and let us know how you're doing with your babies there, Maritza. And I hope I'm saying your name the right way, but
Marissa,
definitely
yeah.
Maritza, let us know about
I
how
know.
everything's
I know.
going. Well, we're holding her in
Up to her.
extra light. Yes, extra love and light for her right now.
Yeah. No, I'm aware that she was on here now, so I really knew that I need to reach out to her after this. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Go if you're interested in the stream's teachings, if you're interested in the Taya practice, go to thestreamofdavid.com/TYA. It stands for Trusting Your Abundance. It's not a religion. It's not a cult. There's no rules. There's no judgment. There's no worship. But it is a spiritual practice that will transform your life if you're ready for your life to be transformed. And the masterclass, I think you can find that on the website. If not, I think I can find a link and put it in the comments here. And you can go take the masterclass. It takes about an hour of your time. But again, if you're ready for boot camp takes 12 weeks of your time plus. So it's a big deal. It's a big life-changing thing that not everybody's ready for, but those who are really ready to facilitate their further awakening wherever you are in that process are just ready to disrupt and change your life forever. Taya is the place to do it. Taya Bootcamp is the place to do it. So thank you so much, Debbie. I appreciate you hosting as always so much. And thank you all.
Love you guys.
Namaste.
I love you all so much. I love you guys.